Hi, I'm Mo from moridesamoped, and welcome to my blog. Today I want to talk a little bit about safety because that's one of the main questions or comments I've gotten from people who have watched the first few videos. They want to know what are ways that you remain safe as a woman, outdoors, often traveling alone. And now I think safety is one of these topics that is huge. There's so many tips and specific things you can do, and it's very context specific. But I suppose I'm going to talk about a couple key points that I always use as I'm preparing for a trip, whether I'm going a couple hours away or a country away, whether I'm staying one night or, 10 nights. So one of the first things I try to do is trust my body. When I'm trusting my body or checking in with my body, occasionally I'll be out and about and things seem okay, but then I get this kind of weird feeling in my stomach or in my chest and I tense up. And sometimes I don't really understand quite why I'm doing that. Everything seems fine, everyone around me seems friendly, or I don't see anybody around and it feels calm and peaceful. Our body really knows when something might go wrong through ages and ages of evolution and experiences that are all stored within our body. So whenever that happens, I take a pause, I look around, I check in with myself even more deeply, and I take a deep breath, because I think one thing to do is that occasionally I'll freeze up, and that's what you want to not do when you're feeling this feeling. I think it's especially important when everything seems fine and then your body freezes up or feels a little bit creeped out, because that might mean something really is going wrong that is going underneath the subconscious level. I'll talk about one example where this happened where I really wish I'd paid a little bit more attention. I was staying with some friends of a friend. There were both women and men in this particular household, and I remember I was going to the room where I was going to be spending the night, and as I entered the room, I suddenly said, wow, I really wish I could lock the door. And I don't always feel that way. Like, I've definitely stayed with friends of friends or stayed camping where you can't lock your tent, right? And so I'm sitting there thinking, man, why do I want to have a lock on my door when everything else feels okay or seems okay? And so I really wish I'd paid attention to that, because it was really interesting. The next day I'm hanging out with these people, and then suddenly we're all sitting at a table, and one of the guys there just kind of slips his hand underneath the table, touches my leg, and leans in. And I was like, oh, that's where that feeling is coming from. I didn't stay there another night. I left immediately, just said, oh my goodness, I have someplace to go. And this is where the other tip comes in, is always have a plan B and have words to explain why you might be leaving a particular situation. So you might be staying with some people you know well, or stayed at a campsite, and you get this feeling or you get this idea that you want to leave soon. So have words practice, like, I'm leaving, I don't want to be here, and have an idea of where you might go next. It makes that act of leaving and getting yourself to a safer space a lot more effective for yourself. Now, of course, listening to your body is something that's important for men, women, and any gender, but I think it's especially important as women. I know I've been acculturated to be someone who is polite, who is friendly, who maybe sits through an entire dinner and doesn't get up in the middle even if somebody touches your knee in a little bit of a weird way. And so this idea of practicing saying what you want to say when something is not going your way is a way of breaking that cultural pattern. And it's nice to do it in situations where you're not feeling tense or panicked, so that when you get into a situation where you are alone or you do feel uncomfortable, you have those words right there. And again, I think it's a really, really hard thing to break. I've definitely been in situations and felt creeped out and stayed there just a little bit too long. Every time that happens, I always wish I'd gone back and listened to my body and left immediately. I think another question I've asked myself when I've abruptly left a situation or felt a little bit weird or said no or no thank you extremely strongly is, what if I'm actually wrong? What if this kind of weird feeling in my body is actually not correct? What if my body feels like it's lying to me? I usually try to err on the side of being in charge of the direction that I'm going, and if I offend somebody, I hope that that person understands ultimately that I'm trying to take care of myself and my own safety and my ability to have more and healthier adventures later on. Those are a couple safety tips. Obviously, there are a lot more things that you can do to keep yourself safe, and it's context specific. It's dependent on the number of experiences you've had out in the world and how often you've had to practice these things. Always keep in mind that you are worth protecting, you are worth paying attention to, and that the hope is that the world reflects that back to you. If you have any other questions about safety or want to share a particular tip on how you've stayed safe while traveling alone, you can always email me at askmo@moridesamoped.com. If you like this video, please subscribe so you can be the first one to see the next video. There's a bird outside.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and it's making a lot of noise right now. And it might make more noise.
Like this.
But this is a video about the outdoors.